this isn't quite the video I had planned today. Once again, the weather here in Scotland is against us. It is Tuesday, about tea time-ish, about 5 o'clock in the evening, and the rain has been on and off and on and off. The wind is blowing a hoolie out there. So we are in the Polytunnel once again. Now, I thought it's been a while since we've had a look around. Probably, I don't know, 6 weeks ago, maybe it's a little bit more since we've been in here and had a good look. We've got the peppers, we've got the chilies, we've got the cucumbers, we've got the tomatoes, and we've even got an aubergine plant hiding at the back. And I will show you the good things and the bad things as ever, because it's a bit of a mixed bag in here. And there's one thing to show you, a little bit of a problem with the polytunnel and some weeds, but I'll come to that at the end once I've had a look around, because I need to pop outside into the bad weather and we'll show you the problem that's been caused by the weeds. One other thing to mention, actually, just before we get started, when we're having a look about, you will see me skip past some plants. Why am I skipping past some plants? Because we've got duplicates. King of the North peppers, for example. I've got about 5 King of the North pepper plants. They all look very much the same. So in the interests of keeping you entertained and not boring you with duplication of effort, I will skip past some of them. I will show you one, I'll show you how it's looking, but we'll pass the others by. And same with some of the tomatoes and the cucumbers. There is more sort of that one variety, there's more than one plant, if that makes sense. But yeah, just to keep you amused. Anyway, without further ado, let me get set up here. We'll get spun round and we'll take a look about. And speaking of King of the North peppers, that just happens to be the first plant we come to inside the polytunnel. Now this one, it's looking all right. We've got some decent fruits on there. You can see a big difference to the last time I showed these. The fruits are a good size and they're starting to ripen. Look at that. So obviously the peppers, they start off green, they go with this sort of dark kind of funny greeny black kind of colour before eventually turning red. This plant here, there's what, 5, 6 of these big juicy peppers on there. Good thing about King of the North is the sort of walls of the fruit are really thick, so the peppers are brilliant. So they're looking good. Here's another plant, King of the North. Just to show you, one thing to show you of this is look at this. Something's obviously been having a bit of a go at that, whether it's slugs or snails or what. It's obviously chomped into it. It's started to rot where air or bacteria, whatever's got into it, and it has fallen off the plant and it is now dead. Anyway, that'll go in the compost heap. But a similar thing back here. This one here is California Wonder. Now you can only see 2 fruits on here. That's because I have picked a load of the fruits already. I've probably already had about half a dozen peppers around about this sort of shape, size and colour on there. They don't grow anywhere near as big as the King of the North. First time trying them. Still lovely, still delicious, not quite as big. Another one here that I need to take care of, you can see there. Damage at the top, a couple of holes again, whether it's been slugs or snails or whatever, gone all wrinkly again. So when it starts to rot like that, the rotten fruit, the rotten leaves, anything like that, it's just going to attract the slugs and snails even more. And just while we're here, right, take note of those weeds at the back. Look at those weeds growing up through there. Remember them for later on. First of the tomato plants here. Now coming up here, this one here is pink brandywine. Is it brandywine or bandywine? Brandywine. This one, and this is, might remember at the start of the year I asked for suggestions of new tomato plants to grow, and this was one of the most popular ones. So I do listen to what people say in the comments, and this is the result of it. There's 2 plants here. There's, believe it or not, there's one at the back and one at the front. And again, if you go back to that older video about, say, a month, 6 weeks ago, I can't quite remember off the top of my head what it was, and it looked nothing like this. There was hardly any fruits. Now look, there is loads of fruit now, but it is very green, and that's okay, because you can see ones like this one, they're just starting to ripen. So there's still plenty of time left. Yeah, I'm still hoping out for the Indian summer. I haven't quite decided to do a hatchet job on the tomato plants yet with all the leaves and things. They've been getting trimmed up from the bottom and things like that to keep the airflow, remove the sort of branches from below the first truss. I mean, it looks a bit messy because there's almost 2 plants sort of tangled up together there. Maybe it needs a little bit more tidying up, which I'll do at the weekend. But you know what? Okay, right? It's okay. It's average. Next tomato plant that we've got over here, this one is a San Marzano, and I was quite excited about this plant, you know, because San Marzano is one of the ones everybody says the tomatoes are brilliant for making tomato sauce, and I thought brilliant, and there was like no fruit on it. Like the last time we looked around here, there was no fruit, but you can see again, there's loads of fruit starting to appear. And I must admit, like, there has been a lack of pollinators this year. I haven't seen very many, but was it Thursday? No, when was it? I can't quite remember when it was when I was up here. And it was Sunday. It was Sunday when the weather was really nice. When I came back from Newcastle, I came up here on Sunday to water up, and I was chatting to my plot neighbour, and it was really warm. And I tell you what, it was noticeable how many hoverflies, bees and butterflies were sort of floating about. There was so many more. But obviously today, the rain's here, it's cold, they've all disappeared. So over here, we've got the sun gold, the one tomato plant that has actually done really well this year. You can see where I've already taken some of the tomatoes off there because they have ripened. There's ones there ready to pick. There's more there growing and starting to ripen. And this plant keeps on going and keeps on going. And there's loads of tomatoes back there. And it just keeps on going all the way up to the top of the polytunnel. Now, there is a couple of suckers up there needing to be pulled off, need to be sorted again. This happens, you know, when you go away for a few days or whatever, you always come back, you find suckers that you've missed, things that need tidied up. But the sun gold, and there's another sun gold, but we'll just sort of skip past it on the way up the tunnel. You can see there as well, it's doing pretty well in terms of what's growing on it. So pretty chuffed with those in terms of the tomatoes this year. Speaking of things I'm really chuffed with, cucumbers, and Common F1 never fails to produce. Look at the size of this. Honestly, let me move the camera back there so hopefully you can see. That's obviously ready to pick, but there's more. There's another one there. Give that one another week, 10 days, 2 weeks maybe. That'll be ready to pick. There's more there. It just keeps producing. When I was here on Sunday, I probably took 10 cucumbers out of here off this plant and off this one at the back here. This is the mini munch, and I just, you know what it is, mini munch goes a bit wild. This is probably suboptimal cucumber growing, and look, you can see I've let it grow all the way along there. But you know what, I just like letting the mini munch cucumber do that. I like letting my cucumbers grow a bit wild. I know there's a whole thing, you should snip the side shoots off, you should do this, you should do that, you should do this and do that, but it's okay to enjoy just growing something and just letting the plant do what the plant wants to do. And that's what I like doing with my cucumbers. And they're producing more cucumbers than I could ever eat. Honestly, people must see me come and I go to my mum and dad sometimes and drop stuff off. They must see me come and go, oh God, here he comes again with the blooming cucumbers and the courgettes. Honestly, the neighbours see me coming into the street and they all shut their doors and hide. It's the courgette guy again, let's all run away. But there's loads and loads of cucumbers, loads of courgettes, and I'm just happy to let it run a little bit wild. Now in the back corner of the polytunnel, we've got the one and only aubergine plant. We don't eat loads of aubergines. I like the odd moussaka and what have you. We don't do loads with it, so I generally only do one aubergine plant. I mean, arguably, I could have squeezed another one in this little gap here. I probably could have done, but not to worry. Let me just see if I can get in here and show you. Just down here, there's one, there's two, and there's another one hiding at the back. There's 3 fruits on here at the moment, and there's some nice big flowers. I can see there's another one just been germinated back there. You might not be able to quite see it on the camera, but it's coming slowly. So you know what? If I get half a dozen decent aubergines off this plant, I'll be pretty happy. So swiftly on to the other side of the polytunnel. We've got the chilies up here. Bit of a mixed bag. You can see here, this one here that's looking okay. This is the Sugar Rush Stripey, and you can see it's got some really nice sort of decent sized fruits on it. The chilies are looking good. I'm really looking forward to them ripening, and I hope they're going to ripen because they're supposed to look brilliant when they're ripe. It's supposed to have these really cool sort of stripes on it, so I'm looking forward to that. So okay-ish, not too bad. There's more back here. You can see them all sort of hanging off there. They're looking pretty decent. The one back there, that's Jigsaw Brain. That's the super hot that we're doing. You can maybe just about see, look, there's big crinkly looking peppers there. You just know when they've got those crinkles that it's going to be mad hot. Again, I'm hoping it's going to ripen in time for the end of the season. We'll see. And this one here, I mean, probably the less said about this one, the better. This is Havana Gold, and it's looking pretty pathetic, isn't it? I mean, look at it. There's a couple of sort of little sort of chilies on there that are very, 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 very green. It's looking a bit sad. The leaves are looking a bit pale. I don't know how they've been watered, they've been fed, they've been looked after. There is a weed in there at the moment. That's not going to really be causing any major bother. We'll get that pulled up when we come in here and tidy up. But, you know, I don't know. The less said about that, the better. More tomatoes. This one here, the different one to show you here, this is black strawberry. And you can see the plant is actually growing really well. Again, a couple of little suckers at the top need sorting out. But the interesting thing with this one is we've got loads of fruit, and let's come down. You can see it all coming all the way down here. Loads and loads and loads and loads and loads of fruit. And this fruit, you might remember this from the last video that we did about this, that it was looking very similar to this the last time, and it's just not. They're rock solid, honestly. They're not squishing at all. I'm pressing them pretty hard there, and it's really, really firm. So they're starting to darken up. There's loads of them. There's loads of fruit. They're looking good. It's just taken absolutely ages for them to ripen. So again, I've resisted doing too much of a hatchet job on the plant so far. You can see, like most of them, the lower down leaves have all been taken off up to the first truss there, but we'll maybe be tempted in the next week or two just to do a little bit more sort of chopping up there. We'll come along here. Let's just have a look. I know I said I wasn't going to duplicate the plants, but look, more Carmen F1 cucumbers. They are brilliant. I can't recommend them enough. This one here, what have we got here? This is Tangerine Dream. Now, it doesn't look that impressive, but there's this plant and one on the other side, and they have provided me with loads and loads and loads of little sweet peppers. Now, they look like chilies. They're not chilies. They're actually sweet, so it tastes more like a bell pepper than it does a chili. And the colour of them, look at that one there. That's pretty much ready to pick, and there's been loads of them. They're great in salads. Chop them up into halves, quarters, chuck them in your salad. Absolutely magic. And there's been loads of them, honestly. They're small, but they are prolific. They're really, really good. So that's how things are looking inside the polytunnel at the moment. You say some things are good, some things not so good, but remember at the start when I showed you those weeds, let's just come outside. Well, believe it, honestly, you're going to think I'm a liar because the sun has come out now. Honestly, you look there and it's blue sky, but look, let's do what we did last time. Look at the clouds up there. You can see it's still ropey. The sun has come out anyway, just to prove me wrong. But we'll have a look down the side of the polytunnel here, and let me just show you the problem that these weeds are causing. So the way the polytunnel is constructed, it's got a base rail at the bottom, so you can see that there. So inside here, there's a metal rail runs all the way along. Now the cover comes down and it clips into the base rail via this, and you can see this has come loose. That should be absolutely solid pressed inside there. And what's happening is these weeds are growing up. Now I'm not too worried. I should tell you right now, I'm not too worried about it because the cover is trenched about 18 inches into the ground with all the earth on top of it. So even though it's really windy today, it's not actually going anywhere. I would like it not to be like that, obviously. The tunnel's not magically going to blow away or anything like that, but it is causing a problem. And you can see the weeds, that's those weeds we showed you there before, that were on the inside. So they've obviously grown up inside of here, through there, and they've pushed this out. So I'm going to have to do something with the weeds there. And there's a bit of it's the same along there. You can see it's happened along there as well. I'm not quite sure, because I can't really get my hand in there and get them out. So this might be a case of perhaps using, controlled use of weed killer inside the polytunnel. Obviously, I don't want it sprayed anywhere near the plants that are in there. But yet again, there's no wind in there to manage. So it's quite easy to keep it in a controlled area, get these weeds all killed off down here, and get this hammered back in there and get it all secured back up nice and safe and sound. So there we are. That's the current state of play with the polytunnel. It's looking okay. Some of the things are absolutely flying. The Carmen F1 cucumbers, as ever, absolutely rock solid. Mini munch cucumbers, marvellous. Must be the air for cucumbers. Been brilliant, been performing really well. The tomatoes, jury's out just yet. Sun gold again, performing, starting to ripen, getting some harvests off them. As for the rest of them, they haven't got long to prove themselves. They've only got a little bit of time, but we'll see how we get on with them as to how soon I start taking the shears to the plants to chop them down to let the fruit ripen. But we'll see. And the peppers again, mixed bag. We've had some damage, obviously some slugs or snails or something's been in here. causing problems, but on the whole, the King of the North are looking pretty good. Anyway, that's me done for today. All that's left to do is to say thank you to my Patreons, Katie and Pammy. Thank you very much for supporting the channel, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye for now, folks.